Video games are always better when played with friends. We listed the most fun and exciting games you can play in co-op with your friends on consoles and PC. Hey, how is it going, guys? You are watching Gamer's YouTube channel. I hope you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Today's video is about the best co-op games for PC consoles, so please consider subscribing to my channel and liking my video because it took hours to edit. Games are a great means for having fun. There are countless masterpieces that you can enjoy on your own, but every now and then you will need to lay off with some friends and work together to beat a game. In the list that follows, we are gonna take a look at games that support co-op features, providing fun experiences for you and your friends to enjoy. Let's take a look. Dying Light is a 2015 survival horror video game developed by Techland and published by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment. The game's story follows an undercover agent named Kyle Crane who is sent to infiltrate a quarantine zone in a Middle Eastern city called Heron. Dying Light is a survival horror video game played from a first-person perspective. The game is set in an open-world environment called Heron. Initially, an area named the Slums can be freely explored. Later, adding a second area called Old Town, players traverse this urban environment, which is overrun by vicious zombies. There is an emphasis on parkour mechanics, which allow players to perform actions such as climbing ledges, leaping from edges, sliding, jumping between roofs and zip-lining. A grappling hook allows players to climb up buildings and quickly travel between places. As players explore the game's world, they can scavenge supplies and loot, which can be used to craft new weapons or sold to vendors. The player character can utilize his survivor sense to identify all nearby loot and use lockpicks to open locked chests. Players can also complete various side missions by accepting tasks issued by the non-playable characters in the game's safe zones. As players explore Heron, they can also pick up various collectibles such as notes and journals, and listen to voicemail recordings. Killing Floor 2 is a first-person shooter video game developed and published by Tripwire Interactive, with later support from Saber Interactive. It is a sequel to 2009's Killing Floor. An early access version of the game was released for Microsoft Windows in April 2015. And the game was released in November 2016 for Windows and PlayStation 4 and August 2017 for Xbox One. The game utilizes Epic Games' Unreal Engine 3. Killing Floor 2 is a first-person shooter video game that can be played alone or cooperatively with up to 6 players. The game is based on events from Killing Floor, in which biotech firm Hortzine attempted to create military clones and was hijacked by an insane researcher who unleashed the clones across the UK. The clones have now rapidly spread across Europe, paralyzing the response from the European Union. In Killing Floor 2, taking place a month after the first game, the outbreak has spread beyond Europe, causing governments to collapse and communication systems to fail. Gameplay consists of players fighting through waves of zombie-like specimens, known as Zeds. As waves pass, the enemy count will increase. Different enemy types are introduced as players complete each wave, culminating to a boss fight as the final wave. Enemy count is determined by the number of players in the game. The boss character is determined randomly upon the start of the last wave, and each boss is defeated differently. Players equip themselves with melee weapons and firearms, a healing syringe, and a welder used to block passages. Random weapons, ammo, and armor can be found by exploring the level, though players have a limited amount of weight they can carry. Payday 2 is a cooperative first-person shooter video game developed by Overkill Software and published by 505 Games. The game is a sequel to 2011's Payday: The Heist. It was released in August 2013 for Windows, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. An improved version of the game, subtitled Crime Wave Edition, was released for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in June 2015. A version for the Nintendo Switch was released in February 2018. The game consists of a variety of heists that a player can opt to either carry out by themselves, with the AI, or as part of a multiplayer game. There are heists such as bank robberies, drug trafficking runs, rigging an election, or stealing smuggled nuclear warheads. Some of the heists put a large emphasis on stealth, often leading to bonus experience points and money on completion, and certain heists can only be done in Borderlands 3 is an action role-playing first-person shooter video game developed by Gearbox Software and published by 2K Games. It is a sequel to 2012's Borderlands 2, and the fourth entry in the main Borderlands series. Borderlands 3 is a first-person loot shooter. Players, either playing alone or in parties of up to 4 people, make a character from one of the 4 classes available, and take on various missions given out by non-playable characters, NPCs, and at bounty boards to gain experience, in-game monetary rewards, and reward items. Players can also gain these items by defeating enemies throughout the game. As the player gains level, they gain skill points to allocate across a skill tree. The game introduces 4 new playable characters: Amara, a siren who summons ethereal fists; Mose, a young gunner who rides the mecha Iron Bear; Zane, an operative with a variety of gadgets; and FL4K, a robot beastmaster who summons creatures to aid in fights. Unlike previous Borderlands games where each character had only one unique skill that operates on a cooldown, each character in the new game can unlock 3 unique skills, though only 1, or in Zane's case, 2, can be equipped at a time, greatly expanding the number of potential character builds a player can make. Portal 2 is a 2011 puzzle platform video game developed by Valve for Windows, Mac OS X, Linux, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. The digital PC version is distributed online by Valve's Steam service, while all retail editions were distributed by Electronic Arts. Portal 2 is a first-person perspective puzzle game. The player takes the role of Chell in the single-player campaign, as one of 2 robots, Atlas and P-Botya, in the cooperative campaign, or as a simplistic humanoid icon in community-developed puzzles. These 3 characters can explore and interact with the environment. Characters can withstand limited damage but will die after sustained injury. There is no penalty for falling onto a solid surface, but falling into bottomless pits or toxic pools kills the player character immediately. When Chell dies in the single-player game, the game restarts from a recent checkpoint. 2. In the cooperative game, the robot respawns shortly afterwards without restarting the puzzle. 3. The goal of both campaigns is to explore the Aperture Science Laboratory, a complicated, malleable mechanized maze. While most of the game takes place in modular test chambers with clearly defined entrances and exits, other parts occur in behind-the-scenes areas where the objective is less clear.